Alrighty, what's up Twitch? What's up YouTube? This is FJ, and with me again. Alrighty,
There.
what's up
Oh,
Twitch? What's up? Always forget to mute that. Up, up there, you guys see is Deji, and this is BrackCast number 66. And we're a little early today, 9 o'clock start, because I have to head out later today. I won't be able to have it later than usual. Sorry about that. And I missed last week. My fault again, because I had to work, so I couldn't have it last week, but we're back today. And today's topic is, why are people still not taking global warming seriously? This idea came out to me when I watched, I think it was a Facebook short, like a story on Facebook. Somebody posted a video, first person view inside a Tesla. They called it a plaid version, but apparently it was just a long range version. And he's from stop, and he accelerates to 60 miles per hour, and it took like 3 seconds from when he like pedaled on the gas. Whatever, impressive. I don't really have to have a car that goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That's not the appeal to me for an electric car. So then when I go in the comments, you get this conflict between people who like their gasoline cars versus electric cars. And a lot of the top comments were like, yeah, great, you have a vehicle that can go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, but do that 5 more times and you'll drain the battery. And then these other people are saying like, yeah, I'll pick my V8 gas guzzler any day. It's nothing beats the feeling of accelerating in one of those. So, and then further down in the comments, someone says, you know that electric cars aren't better for the environment than gasoline cars. The disposal of the battery, of lithium battery afterward, is more hazardous waste than gas cars. And so that's what I want to talk about. Well, at least we'll do some research together, see what's really true out there. Of course, I it's hard to know really what the absolute facts are based on your sources. You're gonna get one source is probably gonna try to debunk the other source, and vice versa. So, Deji, any thoughts first to introduce this topic today?
well, it's interesting that you, because to be honest, I never thought of the disposal aspect of it. Because generally, when they promote electric vehicles and like green energy, it's always this is better for the environment. It's it's clean. It doesn't burn fossil fuels, et cetera, et cetera. So now that you actually said that, oh, what about the battery? What about disposal of it? Actually never thought of that.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see the research on it.
Okay. Well,
Let me
apparently
Google
people
some
saying the
stuff.
lifespan of these electric cars. Let's do some googling right now. So first, I pulled up. Do you see it? Are you looking at the screen right now that I shared?
Okay, hold on. Yeah.
So, are electric cars actually better for the environment? There's a Reddit 2 years ago, apparently. This question was posted on Reddit under the climate change subreddit. And let's see, this got 56 upvotes. This question has been asked 1,000 times. The answer is yes. In every study conducted, yes. Okay. We don't have to
Oh,
read
really?
out, well, that it is, electric cars are actually better for the
Oh, better.
environment.
Oh, better. Okay. Okay.
Right? So the question was, why, while the cars don't emit any gas, what about the source of the electricity that you charge the car with? Is it really better for the environment if the electricity is from burning coal? So that's another thing too. So like, we're charging these batteries, people go to their charging stations, and then so
Okay.
they plug it into whatever, their house or a charging station, the grid. But a lot of countries still generate their power by burning coal, fossil fuels. It's actually really dumb. It's they haven't figured it out yet, or more so, they haven't
Or
picked a cleaner version because it's still the more pricey option. Go ahead.
what's more profitable
For who?
for the people that generally would profit from servicing vehicles and certain giving them power, or go gas or electric? Like who is profiting?
Okay, so you gotta categorize it in terms of who we're talking
Oh,
about. So
okay.
like, is it the
That
person making the car, or is it the person making the power? Is it the
let me
person?
let me
Yeah,
let me see if I can phrase it a better way. Okay, so generally you hear about the war in Afghanistan, right?
yeah,
And weapons of mass destruction. A lot of people will say that that was a ruse that America conducted because they really wanted the oil over there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So whoever would profit from going over there to get that oil, that's the people I'm talking about. Like
Mm,
those people that are in power, would they prefer if because the thing I keep hearing is, like you said, it's really dumb. We have the technology to, you know, do this en masse. I feel like the whole, clean energy. Like if we really wanted to do it, it could be done, right?
yeah.
So I just feel like maybe it's not in some people's best interest. So that's why,
Okay,
and you often would hear that conspiracy theory.
yeah. Good point. So okay, let's break it down in terms of like, what is the government's incentive, right?
Okay.
So whenever we think about war, yeah, there's a ruse about like, war on terrorism, or it's like, let's say Russia Ukraine is like, oh, it's because of the turmoil between them from their heritage, whatever. Like war in Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia before that, and like, or all these places, ultimately, when you look at it, hindsight, aftermath of like what comes after these wars, there's something profitable to come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
and and yeah, usually oil, because oil, I guess in North America too, like these sources are becoming more and more scarce. They're having to expand further and further out into like dangerous, like ocean rigs and stuff like that. But there's a lot more of these deposits, or I guess these reserves, underneath the ground in the Middle East. So
Mm.
ultimately the government is after oil for money purposes, right?
Yep.
They Whoever controls the oil in the world controls the power.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's take it back domestic, take it back home. We have oil now, so like we can produce. It's not just for energy. I mean, oil is also used for like even just creating plastics and like a bunch of production, right? Construction,
Okay.
production, and all these other things we make out of oil. It's like, plastic bags
Mm.
and plastic products and like plastic parts for all these cars and plastics for all these monitors and these computers and these chairs and all of that, right? Coming from oil.
Mm.
So, but let's go into the automotive industry. So, to my understanding, the automotive industry, there's a lot of government backing when it comes to like the automotive industry and the
Okay.
gasoline petrol industry. There's like subsidies, so that they
Okay.
provide subsidies for these companies, and then these subsidies get passed on the consumer. So to us, it looks cheaper. It's like, oh, it's
Okay.
cheaper for us to like buy gas. It's cheaper for us, like even in agriculture, food and agriculture, it's cheaper for us
Mm.
to buy meat. Even though if you think about the cost of making meat, it's high, and it's also very limited, and there's like limited resources and like um, high demand. So meat should
Okay.
be really expensive, but it's not.
Okay.
It's not. Like we still go in the store, we can still buy, like KFC, Popeyes, or even in grocery
Mhm.
stores. Meat is not as expensive as it should be, because there's apparently subsidies. Like government is injecting money into these
Right.
companies so that we get a cheaper price. And what's the purpose of this, right? Why is the government giving subsidies to these industries?
Mm.
Because if you help out these big industries, multi-million billion dollar industries, who have all these support systems with their not just their consumers but their workforce and all their everything that ties together with that industry,
Okay.
then you're in favor with those masses of that population. So then you get the votes after, like you get their support, their political support, when it comes time for you to be reelected. This is my
Okay.
understanding. So it's like, okay, so let's help out these industries. So when it comes time for us to get reelected, so we can keep power, we get it back. Like,
Yeah.
you scratch my back, I'll scratch
Back, I
yours. You know
scratch
what I
yours.
mean? One of those things. This is what I understand. This is maybe this is all. When you look at it,
I'm sure there's
I don't see.
validity to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's so conspiracy. Oh, that can't be true. That's no. It makes sense. It makes sense why even gasoline powered cars with technology these days, we have the full capability of having full electric now, but there's, you know, a vast amount of people who don't want to stop driving gas, who still want to defend their gas, like this American, oh, I want my American muscle car, blah, or whatever, right? And the technology's there, but right now the cost to develop electric and green energy is higher than it is to maintain and open up more plants that burn fossil fuels and all that stuff.
Man, if I was the president of the world, I'd be like, man, fuck you guys, man. No more gas-powered cars are getting made. Everyone's getting electric. Fuck y'all.
Okay,
Stop everything.
so
You're fired.
I mean, I don't think we need to take time to read through this Reddit post, because you guys can do that. Like, I'll have the link in the description if you guys want to see. There's obviously still a lot of debates back and forth, so I decided to just Google it a bit more. So, gas versus electric, just a very base, you know, you can just do a quick Google search. And it says here, on average, natural gas is cheaper than electricity. So a gas furnace will save money on your bills. Electrical furnaces often run quieter than gas furnaces, as they have less mechanical parts used for conversation fuel. Electric furnaces, by and large, are safer. Also, this is more for, like, heating your home. For about, like, cheaper. It was talking about cheaper. Nothing here talks about the environment. So maybe that wasn't the rest. I'm gonna put gasoline versus electric. All right, here we go. Based on an electric vehicle efficiency of 3 miles per kilowatt hour, and the cost of electricity at 7 something per kilowatt hour. I don't know what that hashtag means. The electric vehicle will travel about 43 miles for $1. Based on an average of 22 miles per gallon for gasoline vehicles and a gasoline cost of $1.25 per gallon, the gasoline-powered vehicle will go about 18 miles for $1. So that's even just comparing, again, not for the environment, but just like your cost. 43 miles for $1 for an electric vehicle, 18 miles for a gasoline-powered car for $1. So you get more, apparently, out of electric. Yeah. But again, that's not for environment. So these are like studies, I guess, because people are trying to figure out what's better for me, long run in my pocket. Obviously, also, you're not filling up gas at a station anymore. You don't have to worry about oil and maintenance of, like, your engine. There's less maintenance on an electric car.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question. So hybrid cars.
Yeah.
Okay, so electric cars, right? Like the Tesla, it doesn't take gasoline, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's a true electric car. Are there other true electric cars like that, or generally do electric cars also have the ability to take gasoline? Actually, let me go. I could just quickly Google that.
Good question. I mean, Tesla's not the only one making full electric. I think all companies now are looking into making full electric, right? That's where it's going. Even legislation, like Canadian government, said like by the year 2035, you will no longer be able to buy a new gasoline car anymore. Like you will only be able to buy a new electric car by 2035. Hybrid.
Oh shit!
Hybrid
say that last part again.
Oh yeah, so by 2035, you can only buy electric cars new.
This is where?
Canada.
Whoa.
Yeah. At least I read that somewhere.
Oh shit.
So yeah, in 13 years, if you want to buy a new car, I don't know what the used market's going to look like. I'm not sure what that happens there, but if you want to buy a new car, you can only sell electric cars by then. New car.
That is really interesting.
which I like. I like that goal. I feel like it could be sooner, but whatever, you
Is
know.
that anywhere else in the world that would be? Let's see how, like, to
Well,
see how
let's
that
look
would
it up.
panned out.
Uh,
I'm looking at these different categories of. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up too. Okay, so while you're looking that up, I'll just types of electric vehicles.
yeah.
So battery electric vehicles or BEVs, powered solely by an electric battery with no gas engine parts.
Hmm.
Most BEVs are capable of fast charging and L2 charging, zero emissions. Plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, PHEVs, similar to a hybrid but with a larger battery and electric motor. Has a gas tank and a charging point can and a charging port. Can charge by using L2 chargers. Hybrid electric vehicles, low emission vehicles that use an electric motor to assist gas powered engines.
Yeah.
All energy comes from gasoline, cannot charge where EV go. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Like right
I
now,
didn't know that.
with the world right now, I wish I had a hybrid. Like, yo, there's
Bruh.
Toyota Corolla hybrids, or no, Prius. Prius is the hybrid. Um,
But it's
yeah.
still gas though, right? It's still that's what
So
this is saying.
yeah, there's a gas element and there's a battery element in the same car. So you know where if you have a normal car, you fill up maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Hybrids maybe you fill up once a month. You just
Oh,
don't need
okay.
as much gas because there's a
I see.
battery helping.
Got you.
I think there
Interesting.
has
Okay.
been this push. I mean, when I was younger too, growing up, I wanted like a Corvette and a Mustang, and then I realized as I got older, it was more about the
Yep.
Skyline and the Supras and like
Yep.
these riced up cars, and then obviously throughout the whole time Ferraris and Lamborghinis, right? It was always about
Mhm.
performance, exotic looking cars was the appeal growing up. But then you become an adult and like now, whenever I buy a car, it's like, okay, well, what's the mileage like? Like,
Yeah.
is the utility of a car? Like, I need the hatchback for my equipment. I want something that doesn't burn a lot of gas, so then I can, save money in the long run. So that's why I got a Corolla. Had I
Okay.
known like this is what it's gonna be like, I got my Corolla in 2017, 2018. It's a 2017 I bought in 2018, I think, or maybe it's a
Okay.
2016. Doesn't matter. So I knew I wanted like a smallest uh what's it category of car hatchback because I wanted a small engine. I wanted a small engine. Performance to me does not matter. I don't need to accelerate ridiculous off a red light. I don't care about 0 to 30, 0 to 60, 0 to 100. I don't break. Well, I mean, I go over the speed limit sometimes, but like I don't. I'm not one of those speed demons on the road trying to impress people by how fast I can go and weave through other people.
Hmm.
There are still a lot of people out there like that, but I don't
Right.
care. I don't care for that. Even these crazy luxury vehicles, like you know, people buy these Mercedes AMGs or they buy their
I'm
BMW M3 M5. All these M1s cars, right?
yeah.
But they're
I
only
was
driving them on the highway. They're not like taking them on the street or anything like that. So it's like, what do you need the performance for? Like, stuck in traffic on the
yeah.
401 all the time. What do you need performance for? Like, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, that ass. I was gonna say I was Googling just now hybrid luxury vehicles, and I'm only getting like Lexus, Acura, Mercedes. I think I saw a Porsche in there.
Yeah,
But
Day Day has a hybrid Lexus.
ooh,
Yeah,
I saw an Audi. Yeah, pretty limited still, but
yeah, because they still, people's. So the concern when you go full electric, people keep saying is um range. You're like it's how far you can go on one charge, right?
okay.
So I looked that up. Let's look up this electric vehicle myths. All right, I looked this up one. So myth number one: electric vehicles are worse for the climate than gasoline cars because of the power plant emissions. That's myth number one. And the fact: electric vehicles typically have a smaller carbon footprint than gasoline cars, even when accounting for the electricity used for charging.
Mhm.
Myth number two: electric vehicles don't have enough range to handle daily travel demands. That's the one I just mentioned. Fact: electric vehicle range is more than enough for a typical daily use in the US. So I guess they're taking averages of like people's consumption and what they need. You can read into this more. I'll have this link in the description too of this video. Myth number 3, electric vehicles only come as sedans. That's a myth? Really? That's a stupid myth. Fact, electric vehicles now come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Yeah, we know that. Myth number 4, there is nowhere to charge. Fact, electric vehicles can be plugged into the same type of outlet as your toaster. When you need to charge while on the road, you'll find over 45,000 stations in the US available to the public. Stations, yeah, there's like fast chargers you can install in your home or in your building. So yeah, like obviously the infrastructure is slowly being implemented in the population now. Myth number 5, electric vehicles are worse for the climate than gasoline cars because of battery manufacturing. This is the one we were talking about, right? Like, so fact, the greenhouse gas emissions associated with an electric vehicle over its lifetime are typically lower than those from an average gasoline-powered vehicle, even when accounting for manufacturing. Okay, what about disposal of the battery? Okay, electric vehicles are not as safe as comparable gasoline vehicles. Fact, electric vehicles must meet the same safety standards as conventional vehicles. Okay, so we still don't know about... Okay, oh, here we go, sorry. The blue bar represents emissions associated with the battery. The orange bars encompass the rest of the vehicle manufacturing. Extracting materials, manufacturing and assembling other parts, and vehicle assembly. And end of life. Recycling or disposal, so it does have that. The gray bars represent upstream emissions associated with producing gasoline or electricity, and the yellow bar shows tailpipe emissions during vehicle operations. So, left side is gas car, right side is electric. So yeah, other manufacturing end of life, gas is less than the electric. Feedstock and fuel, gasoline is less than electric. And then battery is only with electric, even though there's a car battery in a regular cars too. Zane Zulu, thanks man. And so you got vehicle in use. So usage over lifespan of the car. I don't know what the lifespan is. Is this like a 5-year? I wonder what the usage is over there. Is it 300-mile electric range? Anyway, so yeah, life cycle GHGs for an electric vehicle and a gasoline car. Well, hopefully that graph shows you guys a little bit on that side of it. But yeah, hazardous waste, lithium ion. You know what I'm thinking too, man? If more and more people, like when you first, okay, let's look at the first gasoline powered car, or first like mass produced gasoline powered car. I think it was like the Ford Model T. Everybody bought it because it was an innovation, and it was like, wow, we can finally drive our own cars. But it was a shitty car. Also, fuels weren't like figured out by then, but everybody did it. And then we talked about that later on, about like ethanol and like ethyl alcohol and all these people dying because of lead poisoning over like a generation, because people continued using the car because it was mass produced and it was available to everybody. Now, now the cars have been around for what, like 100 years? More? I don't know. A long time. Oh my god.
It's longer than that.
Way more than 100 years. We're in...
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, so... But they've all been gasoline. If you spend the same or even half the amount of time with technology and the way technology ramps up now, and everyone switches to electric now, look at what, like, even just... Remember, like, alkaline batteries was the only option we used to have for AA? And then it went to NiCad, and now it's NIM, nickel metal hydride, and now lithium. So we're prolonging the life of each of these little batteries that we use for our daily life because technology is getting better. And Cutlash, bye. All right, peace. Oh, that's Zane. Sorry, that was Zane. That was your boy. You said 6 so far. I gotta head out. Oh, my bad. Sim, you can pass that on even to like electric powered cars. The more people that consume, the more money that's in the electric industry, the more they're going to be able to put back into research and development, and these batteries are going to get better. They're going to get, you know, like even nuclear waste for a time is something that we've been like worried about.
Yeah.
You know, like where to dispose of all this nuclear waste. There's still a program in trying to figure out where we're going to put our Canadian nuclear waste. You know, there's like,
Oh, we just have it stockpiled somewhere?
Oh, dude, it's bad. We have a lot of temporary storage right now, and I think in Canada they're trying to
Where?
figure out where to put it permanently, and they're thinking of
Oh
digging
God.
really, really deep bunker type storage facilities
Of course
underneath
they are.
like reserves, like native reserves. It's bad.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's because
Oh
money. It's
God.
money. It's like, hey, look, if
What?
you allow us to do this, you'll get all this money, and right now it's being still
Oh
debated like what they're supposed to do. But you
Jesus.
know, but you'd think hopefully with
That's
further use
terrible.
of nuclear, it's just hope. You'd hope that this stuff gets better, but you're not gonna get innovation, research and development, and innovation in a industry that's just not widely accepted yet, right? It's expensive to develop. Like Tesla, yeah, it's great. They've been developing their own category of vehicle, but only now people are starting to see like the competitive nature of going electric because Tesla's way ahead of everybody else. Tesla's developing their own batteries now. Tesla used to buy all their batteries from like, I forget, I think it was like Panasonic, I think, something like that.
Okay.
And they're and they have like a monopoly on it. Like they have a contract, only they can buy this battery. But once their patent or whatever their agreement contract expires, it's going to be sold to all the others like Toyota,
Oh,
Ford,
okay.
everyone. But then by then Tesla's going to have their own version of
Mm,
like this improved battery that's better for them. And I talked
okay.
about this in a previous pod too about like the infrastructure of how cars are made. If you think about gas powered cars every year, right? You go drive by a dealership. There's like
Mm-hmm.
thousands of cars on the lot, thousands of
Mm-hmm.
new cars, 2022, 2023, whatever it is, Camrys or Camaros, Corvettes, whatever it is. Like you just see a bunch of them on the lot,
Yeah, yeah.
haven't been purchased yet. So this is all materials that have been manufactured and produced to produce these cars that haven't been purchased yet. Tesla is made to order. You buy a car, you get it like a year and a
Oh,
half later, right? Like you only make the cars that are bought.
interesting.
That makes sense to me, right? But if you look at all these other brands, they only have the infrastructure for mass production like that. Do you really think they're gonna stop? Are they gonna switch to pre-order? I don't know. Do you think? Do you think gas-powered cars are gonna switch to pre-order? I don't think so.
Well, I think it would take a crisis similar to what we experienced in 2019, 2020 to make a shift that drastic.
Yeah.
Because, like, this whole curbside delivery thing, distance service, remote working, if not for the pandemic, people would have been like, that'll never fucking work. But
Yeah.
it had to work. So
Yeah.
I feel like at some point something might have to give, and that
Yeah.
might just have to be what they do to survive, you know?
Like right now, I still go into the grocery store by myself, buy my own food. But there's a lot of people out there I know that don't do that anymore. They're all super
Hmm.
comfortable with like ordering it off a website or their app, and then it shows up at their door delivered.
Yep.
So similar with these cars, people want to go in test drive or whatever. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there who don't bother with the test drive. They just like, oh yeah, I can go on the Tesla website, reserve a car, okay, and then pay it, and then
Yeah.
several months later you get your car. You get to pick it up,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
If you think
Even
about, yeah,
shit, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, just like the Tesla facilities, they're like state of the art. These facilities, like very clean vacuum facilities for the manufacturing of
Oh,
each
I got
car.
it back.
Yeah, yeah. You want to talk about yours first?
Yeah, so I was saying because even in the rental industry, because
Yeah.
Hertz, they had to sell so much of their stock during the pandemic, right?
Oh.
So like that was a company that like they're used to always having a large amount of supply and even larger demand.
Hmm.
But like now no one's going anywhere, so they had all of the supply and no demand, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if something similar were to happen to like the auto automobile company,
Hmm.
then they might have to make that shift, you know?
Well, it makes me wonder, like, so in manufacturing, all these existing car companies are used to making mass production lineups, right? You buy all your parts from, some company, you bring them in, you build 1,000 cars per category, and then you distribute them in your dealerships, and then they sit in the lot, right? Until somebody buys them.
Yeah.
I doubt all those cars are bought by the end of the year,
Yep.
right? So maybe they end up being transferred over to rental car companies. They become rentals.
Probably.
I've heard too that even off-lease vehicles, when you lease a car for 2-3 years, this whole lease, what's the word, process. Do you believe in leasing cars? Do you know the whole like advantage of leasing a car?
If I don't know, what I've always heard is better to just buy the car,
Yeah.
Because leasing, I've just always heard it's better to own a car and just buy it outright if you can afford it, or do what's the other thing, finance it.
Yeah.
But if you have the funds, that's what I've always been told, and I guess I see it, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be attached to something.
For our generation, like every time I bought a car too, I was like, I want this car for at least 10 years, right? 10 years, or like, so the money I spent for the car divided by 10, that's my annual cost for that car. It's definitely going to be cheaper over 10 years than leasing a car and paying for that car for the year, right? You got to compare that cost. But let's say if your car breaks down after 5 years, you've only had that car for 5, you're only dividing your total cost by 5. Was it really worth it, right?
Yeah.
And now with technology, how fast technology ramps up now, like 10 years ago, you didn't have rear view cameras, right? In cars. And 10 years ago, you didn't have Bluetooth on your car. You didn't have internet data where you could just like map everything out. So I do think like innovations and technology is going to change much faster. So in that sense, leasing makes sense because you are only entitled to that vehicle, trying to figure out your vehicle within a 2-3 year period. After the 3 years, you get what's new. You get the new tech. Yeah. So I do think that it's not for everybody. It'll cost more in the long run if you're gonna really like count every dollar. Yeah. But for someone maybe middle class, upper class, it makes sense. Why own a car if you're not gonna have it for over 3 years? True. Right? Are you really gonna get back that $80,000, $100,000? These people who buy Mercedes and BMWs or fancy SUVs that are like,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, if you break it down that way.
In that sense, technology-wise, yeah, I start to see, like, especially if you're older too. If you're like my parents, maybe they were thinking of replacing their old car because they were starting to have some issues. And then I'm like, okay, well, how much longer do you plan on driving? Also, you're retired. Do you really drive that much? So it's like, are you really going to buy at, whether you're 60, 70, or 80 years old, are you really going to buy a car for 10 years at that point? Like, do you need a car to last for 10 years at that point?
That's kind of morbid, but very practical.
Yeah, it was a weird talk, but we had to think about it. Like, do you really plan on driving? Like, what's the point of doing the math for a duration of time? Yeah,
you will be alive long enough to see
to see the full value of the car. So in that sense, I do see leasing makes sense. This used car market's going to be interesting over the next 10 years. Like, dude, like I see. You don't just see used cars online, but they're everywhere now. Like Facebook, you can buy used cars easily on Facebook.
Oh,
now.
yeah, that's where I bought my car.
There you go. I was looking on Facebook too, but I got lucky at a dealership. But I don't know what the used electric market's like. See, I don't think there is such thing yet because we haven't broken that 5-year mark. People are saying these batteries are only good for 5 years. Let's look it up. How long is an electric car battery good for? This decreases the range. However, the current prediction is that an electric car battery will last from 10 to 20 years before they need to be replaced.
Shit.
I did not know that. I thought it was 5 years. That's pretty good.
That's fucking lit.
Right? And again, back to this graph. The whole point
minimum 10? That's fire.
The point of this podcast is, why aren't people still taking greenhouse gases, like global warming, seriously? Like,
'Cause,
they're like, oh, if we switch to electric, it's bad for the environment because the battery, when you throw away the battery, it's worse for the environment. Oh yeah, when you throw away the battery in 5, 10, 20 years, yeah, we got to worry about that. It's true. But then, what, 20 years of burning gas and, like, emissions from gasoline, you're going to say...
yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. It's what's worse is that battery in 10 years. It's like, you think... They're also going to figure out... I hope they're going to figure out how to recycle more... Not recycle, but, like, reuse maybe something that they can do with this lithium chemical compound, or maybe they can figure out a way to reverse it, separate it, so then you can reuse the battery again.
I'm sure that technology already exists.
Makes sense, right?
Like, they're shooting atoms
Like right here, man.
at each other. Like,
Right here.
like right now, like, you can put a phone. You can just have a phone in your hand and just have a thing here and just put the phone on it and it starts charging.
It starts charging.
You know how insane that is?
Oh, dude.
If I was alive 50 years ago, I would have thought that was witchcraft.
You know, there's an idea, right, where they're just gonna create a bunch of roads that are wireless chargers, right? So you'll drive and you'll always have power because you're on the road.
Yo, you just blew my fucking...
No, yeah.
That's the future.
That's crazy.
That's literally the future.
Well, my question to you, does driving your own car, is it something you want to hold on to for the rest of your life? Like, you want to have the ability to drive your own car?
There's a certain pleasure that one takes in driving.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one would appreciate the ability to just let the car do its thing and just chill for a sec if you need a nap or something.
You've seen iRobot, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you remember, like, when you need to go somewhere, just kind of, like, order it like an Uber? A vehicle shows up. It's your own personalized vehicle, as in, like, no one else is in there. And then you use it, you set your destination, and it takes you there. Right?
Cool.
So they have something like this already in the US, where it's a AI car, no driver. It's a van. Software drives it. This thing shows up at your location, picks you up, you tell it where to go, and it'll get you there. Nobody else is in the car, though. And I totally see this being feasible in the future.
Wow.
If I want the pleasure of driving my own car, maybe there's going to be, instead of go-kart facilities, there are car facilities where you can just go somewhere and drive a car if you really want to drive a car. But I don't find myself, oh man, I need to go, I miss driving.
The car, the battery infused road thing, was a dope idea. I just feel like the technology would have to be at a level where it was like really safe, because I always feel like in case of like a mass failure, that would be like, that could be a complete catastrophe, or like an explosion or some shit, like the power grid like shorted, or a terrorist attack or some shit.
I mean, it's gonna, like, I'm picturing, future stuff, like Star Trek stuff, where there's, like, you don't need to drive your own cars anymore. Everything's on a grid where you need to go somewhere. That's another thing too. When you remove drivers, like human drivers.
Sorry.
Last thing. When you remove human drivers, you basically make sure that a piece of software will make the traffic flow efficient. Like, what creates traffic is like human error. Even if you're gonna do masses of, like, a bunch of cars trying to get on the road at the same time, which you won't need to do though if this, like, system's really working, it'll still do so in the most efficient way so that there's really minimal traffic, because like there's no human error introduced. But go ahead, what did you find?
Yeah, just so of course Sweden. This week, Sweden unveiled E-Roads Arlanda, the first electrified road in the world. The 2-kilometer stretch of pavement uses a pair of electric rails to transfer energy from the road to an EV, electric vehicle, above it via a mechanical arm. Each kilometer of road costs about 1.2 million.
That's a lot, yeah.
Oh shit.
No, that's for sure.
This
Like,
is
man,
pretty sick,
if you
though.
think about infrastructure, how hard it is already in Toronto, let's say, to build a new road, or how long, man, I'm sure you've seen it, Eglinton. Like how hard it's been to make that one subway line under Eglinton.
Hmm.
So, like, if you were to revamp all of the roads in a city to be electric chargers, yeah, it's gonna be a big project. I'm sure whoever gets that project will be filthy rich, but that might not happen for quite some time.
Hmm.
Last thing I want to show. Go ahead. You have anything to say?
I was just reading some additional research on this. So, like, they're asking if this would ever get transferred to the US, and it's like, what are the chances? Probably not very high. Firstly, they're costly. At the cost Sweden paid, we'd need to spend 4.8 trillion just to convert the US's 6.5 million kilometers of road, and that's just the upfront cost. We seem to have a hard enough time keeping our basic asphalt and concrete roads in a state of good repair, let alone roads embedded with hardware and associated controls.
Yeah.
A researcher at blah 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 states.
Yeah.
Second, the average person doesn't need EV charging roads. Uh, uh, yeah, so I mean, that's practical, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to show you this. I just typed Kurzgesagt global warming, and I will admit, fully confess, I am a huge fan of Kurzgesagt videos and the channel on YouTube. I find it to be very informative and educational. Um, and yes, they are very much pro, like, global warming is messing up the world and we need to address it. Did you hear about that Deji, where it was we've reached past the point of no
Mm-hmm.
return where we won't
No return,
reverse,
yeah, we're
right?
fucked.
Do you believe that? It's not in our lifetime,
Yeah.
but I mean
I
it's
mean,
yeah.
it's yeah, it makes sense, you know.
Okay, so
Keep shitting on the planet,
you'll
taking a big
notice
dump on it.
this playlist has, you know, there was a video about like whose fault is global warming? How do we fix it as a globe? Do we need nuclear energy to stop climate change? Geoengineering, figuring out better ways to provide energy at a more green capacity. Climate doom. Is it too late to stop climate change? And then here's, can you fix climate change? And then the thumbnail says no with an asterisk. And then 2 months ago was the last video I saw, and it says, we will fix climate change. Good news. That was the latest one that I saw from Kurzgesagt 2 months ago. 9 months ago, they're like, you can't really fix climate change because we passed the no return, right? It's like, but, and
like,
when I saw that video, hello, Playgirl Gotham, thank you. I know, I appreciate the chat. um, the when that message was coming out that we've gone past the point of no return, it was very depressing for like a lot of people. Were like, well, then if there's nothing we can do to stop it, then we're doomed. But 2 months ago, they've been following up on studies and finding out that this point of no return rate technology does have the potential to speed the rate of recovery up. Does that make sense?
okay.
So it's like before we were looking at it as like, okay, if we don't make a change now, we can't reverse it. But apparently, if we make some drastic changes, there is a potential that these drastic changes will affect the world faster as well. So maybe that rate of recovery can be sped up and be better.
Okay, so basically it's like you're hanging over a vat of lava,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
The fucking rope that's holding you up
Is burning.
is on fire,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're about to fall into this lava,
Yeah.
and everyone's looking around saying, yo, once that rope burns 90% of the way, your weight's not going to support the lava or the rope, and
Yeah.
you're going to fall into the lava.
Yeah.
So it's like burning, it's at 70%. And then we're like, oh shit, we've passed the 90% mark.
Yeah.
But on the ground around the lava, we have people throwing like mad ice in it. Mad ice, mad ice, mad ice. And it's like, okay, if we can throw this ice in it fast enough, the lava will just turn to hot water before you fall in. Something like that.
That's even a better analogy than I was thinking. Yes. Yes.
All right, cool.
The analogy I was thinking was like if you figure out a way to start tying, like putting out the fire first, put out the fire, and you also figure out a way where you can tie that existing rope that you have left, then you can still climb out. Something like that was what I was thinking. But your analogy makes more sense, I think.
Cool.
So, just today, just when I did this just now, there's this thing called Kurzgesagt and the Art of Climate Greenwashing. So, this is a 1 hour and 49-minute video I just discovered. It came out 3 weeks ago, and I'm gonna watch it. Not today, not with you guys, but maybe we can react to it at a later time, or I'm gonna go back and talk about this. But it sounds like this is something that's gonna try to debunk what Kurzgesagt is saying. Let's read the description real quickly. Oh, here, let's look at the intro.
Probably seen some videos from Kurzgesagt, and now you might be wondering, oh, come on, really? You're going to be debunking their videos? Can't you go bother some denialists or something? Or what? Are you actually pro-doomerism? Well, while dunking on denialists is fun, the question is, why? One might say that quantity matters, and that it's good that a person looking for videos on climate...
It says here, climate change, United Nations. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns, mainly caused by human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels. This isn't a denialist video. Okay, well, I'm gonna watch it. Not a lot of subscribers at 3,000 subscribers, but this has picked up some views, 49,000 views since June 2. I think this will be interesting for me to watch. I will pay attention to this.
With the Shrek, though. Is that just the intro?
That's just the intro. I paused it. It's too long. It's too long for us to like really go over. But there's some people out there still that think that global warming, yes, is like our human interaction is affecting it. But a lot of people also feel that ice ages are cyclical on the planet.
I've heard that.
You can't stop it. Apparently, it's just going to happen where all the ice will melt, all the ice will freeze, all the ice will melt, all the ice will freeze. And apparently it's happened multiple times in the existence of the Earth already. So the argument is like, okay, well, are we really making a difference? I'm on the side of like, yes, we are. We're speeding it up, which will affect us, like our generations, like within our, neighboring generations, sooner than it could had it been more of like a natural cycle.
Yeah.
I'm along that team of it. There's no real way of knowing what will happen, but I'm in that team of understanding of what global warming is. There's people in our group, dude, that don't think that are think like we're so micro compared to what the planet does naturally. There's really nothing much we can do to make a difference.
I don't know if I believe that. I feel like we definitely have an impact I feel like we definitely have like greenhouse gases and all that stuff definitely tearing holes in the ozone layer. Yeah. Like that, I believe. As far as what our impact as human beings has had on the climate in general over like a longer period, I think that stuff is more so vague because like, yeah, people say, the whole ice age thing is cyclical, but it's like, no one was actually there.
Yeah.
This is all just like hypotheses, right? So we don't know. We could literally just be like fucking up the planet. But
well, let's look at it. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, we looked at that video of Kurzgesagt about like where we are, where the world is actually at any time, and we've not even like made one full loop around our galaxy. Within not even our existence, but the existence of the Earth. Yeah, we've been around the sun many times, but we haven't even been around our galaxy yet once, or something like that, right? So something could be very different when we reach a certain point of the galaxy, and you're like, oh, look at that! Like we're on this side now, and we just like, something like demolishes our planet instantly, or something like that, or maybe we get to a point where we reach another galaxy. Imagine, oh, dude, I just imagined this, right? Our solar system's moving. Not just the Earth around the sun, but our whole solar system's moving. Yeah. Imagine there's another solar system like ours also moving. Right? And then in a course of maybe, I don't know, 100 million years, these solar systems get close enough, and then our technology is enough to be like, hey, yo, we can move over to that one. It's like, let's move over to that one. Imagine.
Oh man, I think we'll be long.
Oh, we're long dead.
Dust
Like,
by
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like, as a species?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna make the next 1,000 years, bro.
As
Like,
a species.
What podcast was I listening to? Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan, and he was talking about Lex was talking about how right now he has a very serious concern about a very real possibility of a third world war.
Yeah.
Just because the flippant nature in which everyone is just talking about nuclear warfare, and the insane amount of nuclear weapons there are.
Yeah.
You know, so dude, if we last the next 1,000 years, man, I'll be very surprised.
So like that's the talk, right? It's like, let's say Russia wins.
Like 100, really.
Let's say Russia wins. The rest of the world's not gonna be happy about it, right? But if Russia loses, the rest of the world's still not gonna be happy about what just happened, right? Like it's like there's no win situation here, right? It's already started. It's a lose situation already. But then that behavior of Russia has now prompted other nations to like consider the same behavior, right? Like China with Taiwan, or maybe with Hong Kong or whatever. Like there's definitely profitable like financial reasons why other countries might want to make the same kind of moves. So yeah, I don't know. I'm scared.
Man.
I'm scared about it too. Like
yo,
here we are talking about electrical cars. Are we really gonna have 15 years from now?
Bro, I'm scared. I'm trying to get rich just so I can survive.
Yeah.
Just so I can build a bunker somewhere and move everyone I care about in there and be like, yo, y'all figure it out.
Is that like one of your kind of optional plans in the future where you want to get off grid and just live off grid?
If I had the funds, I'd be off grid right now.
Really?
You guys wouldn't see me. I'd be podcasting from my bunker.
But then you'd still be connected socially through social networks, but you wouldn't be you'd be making your own power, you'd be collecting your own water, handling your own food, maybe groceries. You could still buy groceries, I guess, and stuff. Interesting.
My own farm, all that shit. So like off the grid.
Like out in the bush in Canada. Like, have you picked a country where you think that would be ideal?
Well, I don't know. Probably like, what's the safest country
right now?
What's the safest country in the world?
I think it's Norway.
Yeah, somewhere there, man.
Let's see.
Somewhere safe with the Norwegians.
Safest country in the world.
I'm looking that up.
Iceland. Okay, that kind of makes sense. There's like not much going on there.
Or New Zealand, or fucking New Zealand. Go dig a hole in a mountain somewhere and just chill in the middle of a mountain.
Wow, Portugal's up there.
Portugal? Oh, really? What the fuck? That's surprising.
It's the global.
Yeah, man,
peace
y'all wouldn't
index.
see me.
I mean, it's beautiful there too, from what I've heard. I haven't been there myself, but like I've seen pictures.
You could visit, but I'd have to put it like, you'd have to have like a bag over your head and shit.
Like
So
going
you
to the
don't know
Bat Cave.
So you didn't know where the location was. The Bat Cave, exactly.
No,
It'd
but
literally
honestly,
be
man, do you really think you can hide from anybody in this world now with all these satellites,
Nah,
satellite
man.
tracking and stuff? Like, you can't hide anywhere.
What's the shit that I heard about the other day that freaked me out? Some other talk about robotics, man. Some lady was talking about robotics on the Joe Rogan podcast, and she was just talking about like, yo, the shit that they have right now. Dude, I'm scared, man. I'm scared.
Yo, you want to watch this real quick? This little thing.
Like, she was talking about the micro robots and shit.
Oh,
How
nanotechnology?
They can't be detected. I'm just like, bro, like, yo, why? Like, why are you sending microorganisms with fucking batteries into my house?
Yo, but what if this metaverse... Remember, we talked about this. Like, what if the Matrix actually ends up happening where we can function as a race inside the Matrix so that survival and efficiency and all that other stuff is handled externally. It's not, we don't have like a personal stake in that stuff. Like, you know, there's some benevolent, hopefully governing body that figures out how we make sure that everyone's, you know, nurtured, has safety in their own home. And I mean, this is like really utopian kind of thinking in the future, where like we can all plug in, live the life that we want to live in the Matrix, but yet we still as a species continue to evolve and develop and grow. I don't know.
My only question is, who's maintaining that system? Who's
Oh
the maintenance
yeah,
crew?
it's got to be some like super benevolent, like peaceful, and ultimately smart. It might not even be humans. It might not be humans.
Human. I was literally
That's
just
what
about
I'm
to say it
saying.
wouldn't
Like
be human,
some
man.
alien race comes and like convinces us, be like, yeah, these people know, like they know way better than we do, and then like we trust them to like run us. Have you watched Love, Death, and Robots?
The first season, yeah.
Dude,
The second season, I haven't made it through all of it.
okay, so there's 3 seasons now. There's a third now too.
Oh, wait.
It just came out. Yeah.
The first and second, I think I've seen. The third, I haven't.
Yeah.
When did the third come out? Like a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, within a few weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a month ago. Yeah. So
oh shit, I haven't seen that.
I'm pretty sure it's May 20. May 20 it came out.
Oh, that's the one with the giant squid and the ship and the captain. The giant lobster or whatever that was. That was eating the sailors. Anyway.
Yes.
That was fucking scary.
Yes. Okay. So there is this one short, or I guess I call it a short film, in the newest season that talks about this hive mind. I think it's got more of this like thinking about like our human race, like our species. And it was this hive mind. It was like an alien hive mind that's really figured out the most efficient way to keep its hive alive. Like you used to play StarCraft at all? No?
No.
Okay, that's okay. So basically one of the last, I don't know. I don't think it's a spoiler. Hopefully you'll forget it in time, but I do want to, I think it's worth mentioning. They said that intelligence was a detrimental factor for the survival of the species. Like getting
I agree.
too self-aware was actually what introduced danger and like error and like possibly like death to their race. So they figured out a way to like limit it. Like when the hive thinks it needs it to counter some other intelligent species, it develops it. But once that purpose is finished to remove the threat, they will remove the intelligence again, and then it becomes like its own self-running machine, like this species. It's pretty interesting when you think about it, because yeah, when you what's the word, introduce intelligence, you introduce greed and wrath and all these other stuff, right? Like,
I don't know why, like, okay, so that is a very valid point. There's a show on HBO called True Detective, where, have you seen it?
I've heard of it, no, but I haven't seen it.
The first season is Matthew McConaughey and what's the dude that played Carnage?
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, right?
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey is like this very stoic, pragmatic dude, and he just has a very pessimistic view about everything. And his partner's like, yo, why are you always such a fucking bummer? And he's like, well, I just feel like the human race made a fatal flaw in evolution when we developed consciousness. Basically the exact same thing you said.
Yeah.
He's like, we felt like we were more important, and I even feel like the honorable thing to do would be for all of us to just like walk into extinction together and to have no more kids, because we have this like vanity about us that we feel like we're better than everything else.
Yeah.
And that also made me think about the story of the Bible with Adam and Eve, right?
Yeah.
Because like technically them eating of the apple would have been them receiving consciousness or intelligence.
Yeah.
And that's when sin was introduced into the world, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, this is a lot of similar parallels.
Yeah, parallels there. I had a talk with Dede once about having your own kids these days, and how with where technology in our development as a species is now, having your own kids now only serves vanity. We had like this argument back and forth about like, why have your own kids now, things like that. Anyway, that's we can save that for another topic, another day. But yeah, man, definitely watch it. Watch Love, Death, Robots. I highly recommend that, guys. I'm gonna have all these links in the description of this video if you guys were I don't want to take part in just this like mental evaluation of where we are as a species. I always think it's a nice thing to talk more about, but we've hit an hour now on this pod. Is there anything else you want to say, Deji, before we wrap it up?
I wonder if I can play like 2 minutes of this scene.
Okay, you want to share it?
Cool.
Do you know how to share it?
Yeah, let's do
Or do you want to give me a link?
I'll give you a link. Actually,
There's this link here. It says what Greta Thunberg does not understand about climate change. I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Go to YouTube and just type in Rust and Martin car conversation scene.
Rustin? Like what?
Rust and Martin car conversation scene. And then start from like 50 seconds.
I think you meant. Oh, there it is. So it's a 4-minute clip?
Yeah.
4-minute
Yeah,
clip.
you can start from like 40 seconds.
All right, let's do that. Let me turn off this music.
Yeah. 40 seconds is good.
40 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're going to call it for tonight. Thanks, guys,
Yep.
for coming out and watching. Whoever's out there. Again, Playgirl Gotham, Kyle, Zane, thanks for coming out and chatting. Here we go.
What's up?
Ask you something. You're Christian, yeah?
Oh, can't hear it.
You can't?
No.
Oh,
No.
right, because it's a screen. Hold on. Let me fix that. I'll share it differently here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Here.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. Nice.
Ask you something. You're Christian, yeah?
No.
Well, what do you got the cross for in your apartment?
It's a form of meditation.
How's that?
I contemplate the moment in the garden. The idea of allowing your own crucifixion.
But you're not a Christian, so what do you believe?
I believe that people shouldn't talk about this type of shit at work.
Hold on. 3 months we've been together, I get nothing from you. Today, what we're into now, do me a courtesy, okay? I'm not trying to convert you.
Look, I'd consider myself a realist, all right? But in philosophical terms, I'm what's called a pessimist.
Okay, what's that mean?
Means I'm bad at parties.
Let me tell you, you ain't great outside of parties either.
I think human consciousness was a tragic misstep in evolution. We became too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law.
Well, that sounds god-fucking awful, Russ.
We are things that labor under the illusion of having a self. This accretion of sensory experience and feeling. Programmed with total assurance that we are each somebody. When in fact, everybody's nobody.
I wouldn't go around spouting that shit. I would.
Fucking bars, yo.
Don't think that way. I don't think that way.
I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
So, what's the point of getting out of bed in the morning?
I tell myself I bear witness. The real answer is that it's obviously my programming. And I lack the constitution for suicide.
My luck, I picked today. to get to know you. 3 months,
yeah,
I don't
that's
hear
it.
a word from you, and
You
That's it?
asked.
yeah, and now
Yeah,
I'm
that's
begging.
it.
Yeah, man. Like, it makes sense.
Fuck.
Look at bees. I don't know why I'm thinking of bees. You know, they die as soon as they try to defend themselves. Right? Their stinger. But if you
Yeah.
think about also the necessity of bees in the circle of life, if we lose all bees in the world, we're also fucked, right? Like, what bees do for the ecosystem. It's not humans. It's like the ecosystem, like to spread, pollination among all these, like germination of all these like plants. I don't know the proper words for it, but like if bees go extinct, so will apparently vegetation. Like, and yes, humans for sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. Like the nature will figure out a way to like kind of figure out where it's gonna survive in a different way. You know, it's just maybe there just won't be flowers. It'll just be a bunch of trees and grass or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it takes evolution for something like that to come back, right? But like if you think about like imagine the vegetation and all the species that existed before the asteroid that killed all the dinosaurs. Like we're only exposed to the information and the knowledge of what existed back then as long as it was preserved. But if it died, we have no idea it ever existed. Exactly, right? Like we don't know. There might have been other species around besides the dinosaurs, but maybe, there's no like record of them, like other plants and all this other stuff, right? So similarly too, there's like intelligence of like having a self where when one of us dies too, this like whole thing we do to like commemorate, to honor, to like so they live on, right? We have to like somehow our soul needs to live on, our identity needs to live on even when we die.
Yeah.
Any other animal kingdom species out there, when that thing dies, circle of life, we just look at it like that's how it was, and then like it served its purpose, and then everything else, as Mufasa said.
Circle of life.
Anyway, good talk. Thanks, man, for coming out. I think we're gonna wrap it up for today. Thanks, guys. So again, every Thursday, trying to make this a weekly thing, but it's proven to be difficult now with how busy I am with work. But I'm trying. Thank you guys, and check out again the description for all the links. I'll have it there of everything that we kind of visited today. There's a lot of stuff I want to watch now too, but we'll see you next week, Thursday, likely 11 p.m. Eastern, just a bit earlier today. But thanks for watching. Thank you, Deji.
All right.
Thanks everybody. Peace out.